Okay, so I've got this pile of documents sitting right here, and honestly, they're all over the map. We're talking complex physics equations, military police procedures, labor dispute rulings, electrical trade theory. I mean, on the surface, they have absolutely nothing in common. But what if I told you they're all part of a single hidden story? Well, in this explainer, we're going to figure out exactly what that story is. All right, so here's our game plan for putting this puzzle together. First, we'll crack open this puzzle box and just take in the chaos of it all. Then we'll dig into the bedrock of knowledge you need just to get started. After that, we'll chart a course through the complex systems, the gatekeepers, really, then follow the grueling path to mastery. And finally, we'll see what happens when you have to fight for recognition when everything else has failed. Let's dive in. So let's begin with the puzzle pieces themselves. And right away, you can see they look like they come from totally different worlds. One is super academic, another is incredibly bureaucratic, and the third is just deeply practical. And this slide right here really shows you the fundamental clash. On one side, you've got the heavy-duty technical knowledge needed for a trade, understanding things like electromagnetism and complex power systems. But then on the other side, you've got this dense, often frustrating world of legal and regulatory systems that you have to fight your way through just to prove you know your stuff. And that's really the core challenge we're unpacking today. See, it's not enough anymore to just be good at your job. You have to be able to prove your worth in a world that demands both this incredibly deep technical knowledge and an almost superhuman resilience to bureaucracy. So, how does anyone actually master both of these worlds? Well, before you can even begin to think about the red tape, you need the raw knowledge. And as you're about to see, the sheer scope of what's required is, well, it's absolutely staggering. Just take a look at this. The curriculum for a modern expert is a whole universe of information. It's not just one field of study anymore. We're talking about dozens of fields all woven together. A professional today might need to understand synthetic biology and supply chain management and the legal frameworks that hold it all together. This is the bedrock of knowledge we're talking about. And this just perfectly illustrates the depth required. It's not enough to just know that a topic exists. You have to understand its fundamental language, the core principles, like this cornerstone equation of electromagnetism that actually make everything else work. Okay, so you've somehow acquired all this vast knowledge. Awesome, but how do you prove it? How does it get standardized and officially recognized? Well, that's where a whole alphabet soup of regulatory bodies come into play. These are the gatekeepers of your qualification. Let's start with SAQA. The easiest way to think of them is as the master architect for the entire educational framework in South Africa. They're the ones who design the blueprint, making sure that a qualification from one place means the exact same thing somewhere else. Then you've got DHET, the Department of Higher Education and Training. So if SAQA makes the blueprint, DHET is the government body that actually puts it into practice. They're the ones overseeing the colleges and the actual qualifications they hand out. And this table here lays out all the key players. You've got SAQA setting the national framework, DHET overseeing the universities, QCTO focusing specifically on trades, and then CETAs managing skills for specific industries. It is a really complex web, and every single one of these organizations is a gatekeeper you have to get past on your journey to becoming officially qualified. So, with the rules of the game now established, let's map out what the actual journey looks like. And just to be clear, this isn't some weekend course. This is a multi-year odyssey that takes you from the classroom to the workplace and all the way back again. This timeline really shows you that methodical, step-by-step climb. It all starts with the foundational concepts, from N1 to N3, and then it just keeps building, all the way up to advanced specialized topics at the N6 level. And only after all of that, plus real-world practical experience, can you finally earn your diploma. But here's the thing, the theory is only half the battle. Then comes the apprenticeship, which is its own kind of gauntlet. You have to complete hundreds of hours of instruction. You have to meticulously document every single task you do in a logbook, and then you have to pass this demanding, multi-part practical exam. 80%. That's the minimum passing score, and that's not just some random number they pulled out of a hat. The bar is set that high for a reason, to ensure quality, competence, and, most importantly, safety. Okay, but what happens when you've done everything right? You've jumped through every single hoop. You've mastered the theory, you've passed the tests, you've logged the hours, and the system itself becomes the final obstacle. And this is where the journey can take a really devastating turn. You go from the workshop right into the courtroom. And suddenly, your success no longer depends on your technical skills, but on your ability to fight a legal battle. This quote, this is taken directly from a labor dispute ruling, and it's just heartbreaking. It shows how simple human things, like moving to a new apartment or changing your phone number, can spiral into these huge professional consequences, forcing you to literally defend your entire career. Suddenly, your whole toolbox just changes completely. You're not working with wiring diagrams and voltmeters anymore. Now your tools are affidavits, appeals, and dispute resolutions. It's not about your technical skill at this point, it's about building a legal case to prove a competence you've already demonstrated. And this is where it all comes together. That chaotic box of documents we started with, the equations, the certificates, the legal forms, it all gets bundled into one single thing, a portfolio of evidence. It's one person's massive, comprehensive argument for their own expertise. Your entire career is on trial. Ultimately, this whole journey reveals a pretty profound truth about what it means to be a professional today. Becoming an expert is an act of incredible persistence. It demands mastery not just of your trade, but of the complex, sprawling, and sometimes failing systems that govern it. It really is a labyrinth.